Ladies and gentlemen, welcome, and I hope you're having a fantastic day. I am Jason Zelmer, National Director of Sales and Practice Growth with the Aurum Group, and I'm here with a very special guest today. Some of you may know her, some of you may not. This is Marilyn Sherman. Please give them a wave, Marilyn. So Marilyn and I actually met at IAPA in, I want to say October or November in Las Vegas, where she currently resides. She is a Las Vegas native. She was the keynote speaker at IAPA. I had the pleasure of getting to introduce her. And so we have gotten to know each other and we stay in close contact with each other. So we're really lucky to have her on today. She is a Hall of Fame business keynote speaker. She delivers high content to associations, direct sales, corporate audiences with strategies to get people out of their comfort zones to achieve better results. She has authored 3 books. I have a very special autographed copy of one of them. Notice here how it says BFF.
Yes, Jason.
That is a one of one. She's assured me nobody else will get that designation. But is there a hole in your bucket list? Whose comfort zone are you in? And why settle for the balcony are some of her books, very successful books. In addition to that, though, she holds the highest earned designation in the speaking profession, which is she is only one of 185 people in the world who are a CPAE Hall of Fame public speaker. So that should give you a good indication of how good she is. Have I missed anything, Marilyn?
No, Jason, I'm not a native of Las Vegas. Not a lot of people are native Las Vegans, but I've lived here for about 15 years. I grew up in Seattle, and but I'm very happy to be with you today because it really doesn't matter where we all are. I mean, this is our new normal, right? We've got virtual meetings going on all the time now.
We're all native to our living rooms right now.
Yes, yes.
We are going to be getting together next week on Tuesday, April the, I don't have my calendar in front of me. What's the date?
I believe it's the 21st.
You are correct. It is the 21st at 10 o'clock Mountain Standard Time, and it is entitled Staying Front Row Positive in a Balcony Negative World, which is really about managing your mindset in these times. If you could give the people watching this some context about what you mean by front row positive and balcony negative.
Sure. Well, thank you very much, Jason, for having me, and welcome to all the Aurum group that are out there and the customers and the prospects and friends of, Aurum adjacent. Being front row positive, I mean, imagine that you are living your best life, whatever that looks like for you. I know you are totally into health and personal and professional development. So when you are on your game, when you're in your flow, when you're doing it, that to me would describe a front row seat. Not a lot of people live and perform at their best all the time. So what sometimes happens is they get sort of comfortable. They get into their comfort zone and they sort of settle into a general admission seat. So if you've ever been to a concert and your ticket says general admission, that's like a big section of the venue where you can sit anywhere you want in that area. So this is like a dangerous place to live in because you're so comfortable with the way things are, you don't realize the habits that you are getting into, the habits of behavior that you default to, and then eventually you end up in some sort of a rut. And that rut has another name, and it's called mediocrity. So this is not a safe place for people to stay in. And then the other option is to live in the balcony. The balcony is the worst. The balcony is where you're so disengaged, you've given up, and you're like, might as well sort of like show up, but you're totally not into it. And so front row, general admission, or balcony, those are the options where people can sit. And every single day, you and I get to make a choice as to where we're going to sit in this venue. And I believe almost 100% of it will depend on your mindset. Because even though you and I are living in a different world today than we were living in, let's say, 4 weeks ago, we could have a mindset shift that this is my front row. I almost made a Freudian slip there, didn't I?
Almost.
So balcony's not good. General admission is a slippery slope, but front row is what we want to be. This is where we aspire to be. This is where we're living our life and we're feeling really, really super good about what we do and who we do it for.
Awesome. Well, that's some really good context and some good metaphors. Stay out of the balcony.
Yeah.
So I have a couple questions for you because we just want to let people know a little bit about what they can expect when, not if, they join us next week.
Great.
So the first one is we've been through crisis before. How come there hasn't been a blueprint in how we handle it?
Well, that's a good question, Jason. I think the reason why that we don't have a blueprint is because this is the first time in our living history that the entire country, all U.S., Canada, all of us, in fact, most of the entire world, are being hit with the exact same thing at the exact same time. I serve on a disaster relief committee for my own speakers association, and we have disasters all the time, natural disasters, whether it be a flood or an earthquake or a raging fire, that some of our members then become displaced. But half the time, the other side of the country has no idea that there's this crisis going on with this group of people that have been affected by a natural disaster. So it's easy to manage because, and then if it doesn't affect them, they just go on with their daily life. But this, it's like everybody in Canada, everybody in the US, everybody, 100%. So everybody doesn't know how to handle it because it's different for every single person. So there's obviously not a blueprint because we've never done this before. So what needs to happen is we need to really get a handle on, okay, what do I need today to keep my head above water? Because it's so easy. A lot of people do this, and I'm going to talk about this on our live call. A lot of people just watch the news, and then they listen to certain people, and because they get into this habit of listening to certain people, they're constantly being given a message that the ship's going down. And when you're constantly being exposed to this kind of negativity and this kind of doomsday, oh no, what happens is your subconscious mind then starts to believe it. And even though some of it may not be true, you will find a way to make it true for you. Does that make sense?
Makes total sense. Absolutely.
So we have to be very, very careful about what we expose ourselves to, and what we expose our children to, and what we expose or at least to recommend what our staff and our partners are being exposed to. So there are things that we can do to stay above that, to stay news aware, but not news obsessed.
Good. For that exact reason, I rarely watch the news, usually only if it's sports. Right now, which is kind of fun because it's all replays of, the thousands, the 90s, all my favorite games. So,
but you also know the outcome of those games.
Yeah, I know, but it's funny because last night I was watching a Blue Jays playoff game from 2015.
Nice.
I was all fired up, and my wife's like, that game was almost 5 years ago. I'm like, I don't care. I know this one goes 18 innings, so. And then one more question for you. For anybody that's joining us, when they join us next week, first of all, I guess, who should join us and what can they expect to leave with?
Well, I think anybody that is feeling a sense of discombobulation, where I know that's kind of a pontificated word, but where you're feeling a little bit anxious or a little bit uneasy because this is uncharted territory. You're definitely out of your comfort zone, and you're feeling it from all different sides because you wear so many different hats. If you're feeling any of that and you want to have a sense of how can I stay calm, or how can I even get to calm, and how can I be more positive? What can I do to set a routine in order for me to get through this, even though I don't know what this is? If you're feeling any of that, boy, we're gonna help you. We're gonna help uplift you. We're gonna help give you some routines and help you feel a little bit more front row positive, so that you can say, yeah, baby, at my front row, man, my chair is solid. My chair is solid. Like, I'll just give you a quick thing. Like, you've got your front row. What? But then something happens and like, what? How did that happen? So we need to get solid with our chairs in life, and I'm gonna help you get there.
All right. Well, I'm extremely excited and very grateful to you that you've made yourself available to us. So next week, Tuesday, April 21st, 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. Watch for the registration link. Please join us. I promise. I've seen her speak, so I know you will leave with lots of ideas. This is the great Marilyn Sherman. I am just Jason Zellmer, and we look forward to having you next week with us. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Thanks, Jason.